Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild, and today we're going to learn how to play Sandbag, which is a 3 to 6 player game published by Bezier Games. In this game, you're going to be trying to get your hot air balloon to be the highest by getting rid of your sandbags. And this game is going to be a trick-taking game where you're trying not to win tricks. And the person with the lowest score at the end of the game is going to win. So let's go ahead down to the table here, and I'm going to show you how to play Sandbag. All right, so this is Sandbag, and Sandbag is a trick-taking game where you are trying not to win tricks. You're going to try to achieve the highest altitude possible at your local hot air balloon regatta by having the fewest sandbags on your balloon. Sandbag is a trick-taking game where you don't want to win tricks. The goal is to have the fewest points after the third round. So the game's going to go over 3 different rounds. All right, so let's get into setup of the game. The game setup's going to be pretty easy. For this one here, you're going to take a look at the book to see if you're going to add or remove any cards. Now, in a 3-player game, you're going to add 4 of the 5 rockets. You're not going to use the -7 rocket cards. Now, in a 4-player game, you're going to use 5 rockets, but you're not going to use any of the 7 rockets. In this player count, 5 to 6, you're going to use all 5 -7 rockets, but you're not going to use any of the -5 rockets. So the rockets here are going to be negative points. These are good, and you want to actually try to get these because they'll bring your score down. And again, this game is all about having the lowest score at the end of the game. So those are the rocket cards you're going to put in. We're going to show you how they work when we get into the gameplay itself, but only in a 3-player game you're going to remove some of the balloon cards, which are going to look like this. So in a 3-player game you're going to remove 4, 5, and 6, the normal 4, 5, and 6, all those number cards from the game. Then you're going to shuffle up this deck, and we're going to deal all the face down cards evenly to each player. So I'm going to go ahead and deal that out, and then we're also going to hand out one of these reference cards to each player. So let me go ahead and set this up, and then we're going to go into gameplay, which is going to go over 3 rounds. All right, so I evenly dealt out all these cards. So this is the 6-player for 6 players. I have 6 piles here for each player here, and then each player is going to take one of these piles, and then you pass out the other piles to the other players here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take a look at your cards. So these are all the cards you're going to take a look at. And each player is going to pass one card of their choice face down to the player on their left and another face down card to the player on their right. When you're passing these cards, you don't want to play such as high cards. So basically, this is an anti-trick-taking game, so probably looking at this, I probably want to get rid of my 2 9s. So I will probably pass this 9 off to the player on my left and this card off to the player on my right. And then I'll get a card from a player on my left, or I'll get a card from each of the players beside me, and those will be face down there. And then I'm going to add those to my hand here. All right, so the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create my basket and sandbag. Now the basket is going to be made up of 2 cards, and my sandbag is going to be made up of 1 card in round 1. It can be more cards later on. We'll show you that in a minute. But basically the sandbag is going to be one of the more important things here. The sandbag here is going to be where I play a card that I don't want to play. So let's say I ended up getting another 9 or a 10 here. I can put that down as my sandbag. We'll show you what that does. And also having a high card on here is nice because it's you'll see how the sandbag actually is sort of the card that is an anti-trick-taking card. So when you play it, you just can't win the trick with it. So the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 2 cards from my basket. So let's say we'll pick these. Well, let's say we'll pick these 2 cards, and I'll show you what that means in a minute. They'll be face down, but once everyone has picked their basket cards, you're going to place them face up. Now you have your hand of cards that we're going to play in the game, and we're ready to start. Now there's going to be something that is really important in these baskets, and I'm going to show you this by just randomly placing out. Let's say we're going to go down to clear this all out here. We're going to just show 2 other players here. All right, so there's a couple things. You're going to do this game over 3 rounds. Now, each of these rounds, you'll have a starting player. And the starting player on each of these rounds is going to be the person with the highest trump numbered card out of what's in these baskets. Now, how do you determine trump? Well, the first thing for determining trump is what is the number of each of the colors. So here I have red, I have 3. Here I have purple, I have 1. Yellow, I have 1. Orange, I have 1. What is the most? Red. And then what is the highest card? This red 9. So this player would be the first player. They're going to start the trick, and then whoever won the trick is going to start the next trick until we're out of our cards, and then we're going to start a new round. And like I said, this is going to go over 3 rounds. So now that we have our start player and we know what trump is, how do we play on our turns? So just on your turn, let's say I had this 9 for one reason or another, and I am the starting player for this round. All right, so now that it's my turn, I can do one of 3 different things. I can play a card from any card I want from my hand. I can play my Sandbag card, which is the auto lose card, so I can't win the trick with it. Or I can play anyone else's card in their basket. If I play a card in their basket, I'm going to take a card from my hand and say, you know, I want to sort of get rid of this one, and I'm going to swap it with this. And then this is the card that I immediately play. So those are the 3 different things that I could pick to start this trick. Now, the player to my left must play a card of that color. If they have at least one card of that color in their hand, they must do so. If they do not have a card of that color in their hand, they may play any card they want. All right, so let's go a little bit over. So I said I could have played my face down Sandbag card. A face down Sandbag card may be played instead of a face up card from a player's hand. So what this will do is the Sandbag card may even be played if the player has cards of that lead color. So if I had a red card here, this player could have, and they had a red card in their hand, they could have just thrown this down instead. Now, what that Sandbag card does is it never wins a trick. It doesn't count towards a trick. So right now, this 0 red is winning. And if all the other players threw a Sandbag down, I would actually win this trick. So that would be fairly hilarious. There is a special case with this. If all players play face down Sandbag cards, which is possible near the end round when we have a lot of Sandbag cards, no one gets the card in the trick. All of them are put aside, and the same player will lead the next trick. Now, Sandbag cards are a really great way of getting rid of the lead of the trick. All right, so one thing we didn't go over is rocket cards. And rocket cards are really good in this game. They're pretty hard to get yourself because they don't really win tricks. So these are negative points, and they'll help reduce your score in the game. One of the ways that you can actually get these ones is if you put them in your basket and another player grabs it to play it. That's a good way of winning a rocket card. So rocket cards are one of the best things to put in your basket. Now, if you lead with a rocket card on here, the next balloon played is going to be the lead balloon color and not the rocket, and that person will win that trick. If the player, if all players play rocket cards, the first player to play the rocket card is going to win the trick. So that's another exception here because it is possible everyone played a rocket card. And especially towards the end of the game there, if everyone has rocket cards in the hand, they're holding them till the end, that can definitely happen. So basically, rocket cards are really good to get, but they can be difficult or tricky to figure out how to win a trick with them in there. Now, a couple things that I wanted to clarify in just general trick taking is, what does it mean when we play a card out of a color? So if I play this red, oh, that's a bad example. So if I play this orange card out, everyone has to play an orange card. Now, the highest orange card is going to win the trick. However, if I play this orange card and everyone is out of orange cards, they can play whatever card they want. And if they do play a trump card, that card will win. So the highest trump card will win the trick. And the trump card, again, is going to be picked by what has the majority of, or what has the highest number of colors in the basket. Now, another clarification on that would be, what if there's a tie? So what if later on in the game or whatever, what if this is the state? So I have 2 reds and 2 oranges. So I don't have any color that has more than any other color. So what's going to happen then? The highest sum is then going to win. So here's going to be 15 and we have 5. So red will win that way. But that could still be tied. If there's still a tie on there, all the tied cards are now trump. So if I had a 5 red and 5 orange, both orange and red would be trump cards. So now we know that both orange and red can be trump cards, and then all those cards are now trump. Well, that can get into a couple different problems. If there's more than one trump color and more than one card of the highest trump color is played, the first card played of any trump color of the highest value wins. So that means, let's say, that I have someone plays this orange and this red. So they're both trump. They're both the same value. But since orange was played first, it'll win. So that's how you're going to resolve multiple trump cards of the same value. All right, some more rules clarification on here. So if all the basket cards are flipped over, there's not going to be any trump. So if there is no face-up cards here, there is no trump. So that's one thing to keep in mind. All right, so there's going to be some rules to playing cards from other people's basket here. You can do this on the first trick. You can take a card of the lead color. You can do that anytime you want. You can also take other colors if you have none of the lead card yourself. You can only have one card of the lead color and use that card in a swap also. So what that means is, by effectively saying that someone played red, and let's say I had a red card in my hand, I could get rid of that red card, so now I don't actually have red cards in my hand. Now I can legally play that orange. So basically, you have to follow the lead suit, but you can use that little bit of a trick there to get out of playing the lead color, which is a great trick to learn in this game, and one of the ways that you can actually avoid a lot of points throughout. So that would be something you definitely want to latch on to, and if you're teaching the game, you definitely want to teach that to the other players, that that is a trick you can take, where if you only have one card left of the lead suit there, you can swap it out with whatever is available in other people's basket, not your own, and play that card instead, so therefore not playing the lead suit card. All right, so we went over that. We went over how trump changes throughout the game. We went over some of the special rules on here. You're going to continue on playing throughout the game until all the cards are played, including the cards in your sandbag. And once that's done, we're going to end the round. All right, so one really important thing for when we go into the scoring here is, as the game goes by, you are going to be taking your tricks and you're going to be placing them in your pile here. Now, when you're taking your trick and you win a trick, they're going to be face down. So all your cards will be face down. If I get a sandbag, it'll be face down. And I'll have a little face down pile here beside my sandbag pile. So I won't have a sandbag pile at the end of the game because that'll get out, and then I'll come over here. So at the end of the game, it might look like something like this. So I'd have 2 face down cards for my sandbag and a deck of face down cards. Now, if I got any rockets during the game, you're going to place these face up. And at the end of the game, if either of my cards in my basket were a rocket, they would also be placed face up. Now, scoring at the end of the round is very simple this way. All you're going to do is you're just going to basically take your number of face down cards, including in your basket and in this pile here, and you're going to get 1 point each. Then you're going to subtract the number on your rockets, so -7 here. So I have 1 rocket, so that's -7 to my score. The last thing is, in my basket, if I ended the game with one of my cards face up, that would be the sum of that. So that means that this would be bad. I would get 9 extra points just for this card because no one took it during the round. So that means when you place out these basket cards, you actually want to have cards that other players may want to have. So those will be good. Or place the rockets on here because they're going to want to take it, because if they don't take it, that also is going to be its face value, so -7. So you're going to have cards that you're going to want people to take away in your basket. So a 9 of red would be really bad. I might place that out so because I want to control the beginning of the game. I'm not sure. That's not going to be a really great idea to do that, but that can happen. And that's basically what you're going to do for the scoring portion on there. And in this example here, I would have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then I would subtract this 7, which would be 0, but then I would add these 9. So I would have 9 points at the end of the round. Now there's going to be some stuff when you start the next round. So at the start of round 2 and 3, each player again passes 1 card to each neighbor. Then each player places 2 cards in their basket and 1 card face down for their sandbag. That didn't change. But in addition to those 3 cards, for every 10 points rounded down of a player's total score, they may place an additional sandbag card down, so from their hand. So that's going to be another trick that they don't have to win. So it's a little bit of a catch-up mechanism. Extra face-down sandbags are incredibly powerful as they guarantee you won't take a trick, and also ensure you don't get stuck with a lead late in the round. So they're very, very important. So that's it. You're going to do that for round 2 and round 3, and at the end of round 3 you're going to end the game. The player with the lowest score is going to win. If there's a tie, the tie player with the lowest score on the 3rd round wins. If there's still a tie, the tie player with the lowest score on the 2nd round wins. If there's still a tie, the tie player with the lowest score on the 1st round wins. If there is still a tie, the tie players lose for wasting everyone's time figuring out the tiebreakers, and the player with the next lowest score wins. I actually like that tiebreaker on the end. That's pretty cool. So that is how you play Sandbag. Thank you for watching.